If I'm going to find a wife, I'll look for someone who's 18. Why should I choose you when you're already 38? You're nearly as old as my mom. Look at yourself. You don't have the height. You don't have the looks. You think you're Andy Lau? Well, I am Andy Lau. I'm 3 times more handsome than Andy Lau and Jay Cho combined, the most outstanding man. That's me. Hey, do you even have a mirror in your house? Yes, my house has mirrors and everything else too. You guys always confidently say, as long as I have money, I can marry an 18-year-old. But you're already 38. Too old. Way too old. If I had money and a great house, why on earth would I choose someone who's 38? Why wouldn't I go for someone who's 18? What are you even thinking? Why is there so much mutual disdain? Older single women. Look down on older single men because those men aren't successful, lack financial stability, have poor emotional intelligence, can't communicate well, or don't know how to please them. A typical, stone-hearted kind of man. On the flip side, older single men don't like older single women because they're old, no longer attractive, picky, irritable, hard to live with, and impossible to satisfy. Like a tiger past its prime, the main issue with older single women is that they are just too difficult to deal with. They're truly complicated. Age, in fact, is the least of their problems. Older single men usually end up in this situation for one of 2 reasons. They grew up poor, or they're deeply insecure, can't confidently talk to women, lack assurance, have low emotional intelligence, and are stuck in a very limited social circle. So limited that they don't even meet women. As a result, they have no options, and no one chooses them. That's the real tragedy. Now, as for older single women, why are they still unmarried by 30? And why is marriage so hard for them? Here are the top 3 reasons. Reason 1, pride and ego. Older single women are overly concerned with saving face. They refuse to lower their standards. Everyone cares about appearances to some extent. That's normal. But if a woman is still single at 30, she becomes too afraid of being judged by friends or coworkers. She's scared they'll say, "You've been picky all these years and that's who you ended up with?" So, many older women avoid choosing men below their standards. They'd rather proudly stay single than settle for a subpar marriage. But on the flip side, people will still gossip behind their backs. She's already over 30 and still can't find anyone. No one wants her? Oh, the princess? So what? Does not getting married help you save face? Does it make you feel proud? Reason 2, selfishness. Older single women lack tolerance. They can't stand the flaws of a potential partner. While most people focus on a man's strengths during matchmaking, older single women fixate on his weaknesses. They can't accept small flaws or bad habits in a man. Sure, they can be tolerant with friends or family, but when it comes to a life partner, they show 0 patience. In truth, relationships require mutual understanding. You think you're putting up with someone? Maybe they're putting up with you. Don't be selfish or arrogant. Don't look at everything only from your own perspective. Reason 3, greed. Older single women have unrealistic expectations. They want everything: good looks, wealth, stability, status. Yet they don't realize their own situation. They never adjust their standards to match the dating market. Even though they're aging, have bad tempers, and their prospects are fading, they still think they're princesses. They demand the same conditions as 21-year-old women. A handsome man, with a house, car, stable job, and high income. But if such a man exists, even if he's 40, he can easily choose a young, beautiful woman in her 20s. There are plenty of young women out there. Now even girls born in 2000 are entering the dating market. What competitive advantage does an older single woman have? Successful, wealthy men prefer young, beautiful women. That's just biology. Young women are energetic, full of life, and pose no risks during childbirth. Now, do you understand why older single women are so hard to deal with? Why they struggle to find a life partner? And why they remain single?
真的可以娶一个20岁的，我就真的建议你们娶个20岁的。
哎呀，来，
因为
No matter what, everyone online is talking about the same thing: leftover men and leftover women. If a man is over 30 and still can't find a wife, I actually support these men marrying women in their 20s. But let me explain the issue first. The problem with older single women includes high standards, age, difficult personality, declining reproductive value. Some men have millions in their savings accounts and can easily marry a woman in her 20s. But others, those without a house, without a car, and earning only 4,000 to 5,000 yuan a month, are also shouting online, "I want to marry a 20-year-old woman." Well, I hope you men can take a moment to reflect. When a man says, "I like young women, even though I'm already 40," he should also ask himself, do you earn at least 10,000 yuan a month? Do you own multiple properties? Is your family well connected? Or are your parents farmers? And you earn 4,000 to 5,000 yuan working in a factory? So why don't you take a good look at yourself? Why can't you find anyone despite having no standards? If you say, you only care about personality and temperament and you don't care about looks, height, education, or appearance, then you should have already found someone through matchmaking in the past 3 months, but the women you like don't like you back. So how are you going to find anyone? Take a look. There are women who weigh 70 kilograms, are only 1.5 meters tall, and have only completed elementary school. And even they think they're amazing and want to marry tall, rich, handsome men. I personally don't care about their looks, height, or weight, but they do care about mine. Many women say, "You're short, so I need a taller man." I only earn 3,000 yuan a month, so I want a man who earns 30,000. Otherwise, my quality of life will drop. I really want to marry them, but they don't want to marry me. So, the conclusion is, whether you're a man or a woman, if you truly want to get married, and you have no unrealistic demands, you can absolutely find someone and get married right away. Don't just blame women. It's not that I don't want to get married. I just can't find someone who's willing to marry me.
二婚的怎么了？二婚的，二婚只是他的过去，他的过去你来不及参与，但是他的以后可以有你陪伴。
What's wrong with someone being divorced? Divorce is just his past. You weren't part of that past, but you can be part of his future. Are you saying that my only option left is to marry a divorced man and then have another child with him? What's wrong with marrying someone who's divorced? The past is the past, and you weren't part of it, but you can walk with him into the future, right? Everyone has their own story, and others may also judge you. They might say, "You're already this old and still unmarried. How many men have you lived with? How many relationships have you gone through?" You know, many men won't say it out loud, but when they meet an older single woman, they feel uncomfortable inside. Some men would rather marry a divorced woman than marry an older single woman. At least a divorced woman has been married once. To them, that makes her clean. It sounds unpleasant, but it's the reality. Does that mean divorced women are clean and older single women are not? I'm not saying that outright, but many older single women lead chaotic private lives. I'm not making assumptions about you, but a lot of older single women go to bars or gyms to flirt with young men. They flirt at hair salons, go out for hot pot, and then things go beyond that. It's disgusting, right? Don't put that label on me. I'm just saying some women live messy lives. You think their personal life is healthy? Even young guys don't take them seriously. They just treat them as entertainment. Let me be honest with you. Be cautious with older single women. I'm not saying you can't date them, but you need to approach it carefully, like driving through an accident-prone zone. To be honest, being a stepmother isn't necessarily a bad deal. Think about it. You might even get a kid or two. And sometimes children from single-parent families are more grateful. But you're too selfish. You've never even tried being a stepmother, yet you reject it outright. Why don't you try thinking about it? If you meet someone you truly like and he has kids, you can decide whether that's something you can accept. But if you flat out refuse to even consider dating someone divorced with children, that's not fair. You're already over 30. Do you still think you're a young girl? You're 37, born in 1988. There are many men who've never been married. But do you find them attractive? If you did, you'd be married already. So you think you're better than them, don't you? You look down on divorced men, but they're actually the ones most likely to meet your standards. I'm not saying you must marry a divorced man, but you should at least be open to the idea. If you meet someone you like, and he happens to be divorced and has children, that's perfectly fine. But if you reject all divorced men completely, that's a problem. Do you really think all never married men are exceptional? If they're so great, why are they still single? And if you're so great, why are you still single? If you meet someone you like and build a connection, you can decide whether you can accept his past or not. But actively avoiding never married men in favor of only divorced ones, that's not reasonable either. There's no need for such extreme approaches. Some never married men are amazing, but they might not choose older single women. Why should they, when they can find someone younger and more energetic? That's just the reality of the dating market.
您觉得大龄剩男和剩女哪个更着急？
那一定是大龄剩女啊。
It's absolutely true that older single women are in a tougher position. Why? Because single men can still find 20-year-old girls. But older single women? It's different. They're not willing to marry a 20-year-old guy who has no money, right? Of course not. In my village, there was this old man. When he was younger, he was exactly like some of the older single men in my comment section. When his parents urged him to get married, he reluctantly went on blind dates. But most of the time, he just spent his days drinking tea, fishing, playing mahjong, trimming his donkey's hooves. He was in no rush. When people pressured him, he'd say, "Women will only slow me down. I'm fine just lying here. I don't care." And just like that, he spent a few carefree years doing whatever he liked. Then, at age 40, he became paralyzed. He was bedridden, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. Every day he cried from hunger, begging for food. By then his parents had passed away. He had no wife, no children. So who do you think took care of him? Later on, neighbors built him a cart, like a skateboard with handles, so he could lie on it and go out begging. But he couldn't bathe, so he was covered in dirt and stank terribly. People would cover their noses and toss him a steamed bun or a baked pancake from a distance. He'd pick it up crying as he ate and start singing, "Holding a cheap cornbread, a single drop of oil in this meal." When I went back to my hometown recently, he sat up on his bed, grabbed my hand, tears streaming down his face, and said, "Nana, you have a few followers, right? Please tell the older single men out there, find a life partner while you still can. Otherwise, they'll end up suffering like me." This is a true story, not something I made up to scare you. So why do older single men get left behind? From what I've observed, they're not anxious at all. Unless their parents pressure them, they only go through the motions when it comes to finding a woman. Otherwise, they just try to enjoy life. They don't focus on women at all. They don't even think about girls, their interests, or emotional needs. According to a recent report by China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, only 4.7 million marriages were registered in the first 3 quarters of this year. An astonishing 16.6% drop compared to the same period last year. By the end of 2024, the number of single people in China is expected to exceed 300 million, equivalent to the entire population of the United States. This means that 1 in every 4 people in China will be single. However, since most single men are concentrated in rural areas, and most single women are concentrated in urban areas, these two groups have little overlap. In fact, they often look down on each other and frequently engage in heated debates. The ongoing clash between leftover men and leftover women in China not only reflects the social pressure surrounding marriage, but also exposes deep-rooted tensions in attitudes toward gender roles. Single men often complain that single women have excessively high standards, arguing that these women are arrogant and lack the qualities of traditional family women. Meanwhile, single women, often well-educated and career-stable, criticize rural men for being irresponsible, financially weak, and lacking ambition. Both sides see themselves as victims of modern society and outdated traditional norms. But if we dig deeper, this isn't just a matter of individual choices. It's a broader social phenomenon. Marriage rates are declining, singles are increasing, and mounting pressure from both families and society has created a vicious cycle where both leftover men and women feel trapped. While they criticize each other, the truth is that both sides are facing similar challenges: economic inequality, financial stress, and unrealistic cultural expectations. What are your thoughts on this growing divide between China's single men and women? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your opinion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and we'll keep bringing you more quality content. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.